Welcome to the Ask Phil Skinny podcast with a guest. I'm proud to present Morgan Rich. Morgan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here, my friend.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to our discussion, and I would like to know what do you do and how did you start working on such an exciting things that you're
Yeah.
working on?
Yeah. Well, a lot of my work is with men and young men and people at transitional points. And so to me, those are really crucial. And they have everything to do with with how midlife crisis, they have to do with coming back home. What happened for me is when I was 18, my dream of playing professional hockey and playing in the Olympics, which are going on right now, died when I was a young guy. And then my dad, so the dreams died, and then my dad died. And what happened was something in me woke up during that time, a way of thinking and feeling like, oh, um, I'm a really caring guy. Like I am a really caring, thoughtful dude who is looking out at this world and saying, I'm not really sure about what's going on out here. It doesn't make sense to me. There's a level, there's a masculine energy, there's a ill health, there's a not being connected to what really matters. That became really, really clear to me in the grief of my dad dying. And so to me, when we talk about life transitions, when we talk about midlife crisis, when we talk about, those moments of shifting who we be, it's like a coming back home. It's a coming back home of have I, how have I betrayed myself? How have I lost touch with what really matters? And I think the crisis part of midlife is that we're at a place where we're starting to touch into, to start to feel like that part of us that wants to come out and play, that has been betrayed, is like knocking at the door, saying, hey, remember me? Remember me? And to me, it's a remembering of what we know about how we want to be in the world, about what is right in the world. And I would really say not only is it an individual thing, but it's also a cultural thing. Like here in the US, what we're seeing as a culture is really, really crumbling. It is really in crisis. And there has to be a death of that culture and then a birth of coming back to ourselves, like back to a way of being and treating each other and connection that that we know is better and different than what's happening.
I would like to have your opinion on the I think there are two important topics. One is education, and our education system is very much influenced by our pop culture. Let's call it like this. So, do you believe that we got it wrong with our education system and that we just are producing super intelligent beings that are completely disconnected from their own, let's call it soul, and that we have started um, to change God or trying to substitute God with math and that's a reality and that's science and we just completely or we become completely oblivious that the God or the universe has its own intention in the world and there is a meaning to have a God. Although we believe in science, it's not either there's an evolution or creation. It's so much more to believing in God than just believing in being created was evolving. Do you believe that this pop culture basically that teaches us that there's no God, that there's no taboo? I'll call it like that. And I do believe that um, the lack of taboos is also really important because that means that our everyone can do whatever they want and there's no inner control. Everything is outer attribution, We don't attribute
Mm.
anything to ourselves. We are in
Hmm.
a phase where we don't believe in our inner strengths. If we
Yeah.
are sick, we don't go searching in our mind what we did wrong. We start searching for a pill. If
Yeah.
we do something wrong, we say, okay, I'm not liable because the law is not telling me that. And our inner compass is so far lost that everything goes. And our KPIs are just profit and without the regard to the fellow man, to nature, to, let's say, religion, to anything like that. So what's your take
Mhm.
on that? Where you see our education system? Where do you see our pop culture? Does these two play role in let's call it self-development?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think there's one way to look at it is just to what I see is I see that the culture and us in the culture are quite lost. Like we are off track, like not unlike what you're saying. And whether it's believing in God or that that's the answer, whatever your God is, it's that place. What I say is in us, like you're saying, like there's an inner guidance. There's an inner guidance that is really important to come back to, that we know that there is a different way to do this. So the education system to me is trying to standardize children. It's trying to make us think that, we say like, is he smart? Is she smart? And smart is a very interesting thing that is based on a paradigm of being good at math, being good at English, being good at the academic pieces of things. But think about somebody who listens really, really well. Think about someone who's a musician who is just really, really gifted. They are smart. Think about an athlete. They are smart. Think about someone who's really good at relationships. They are smart. They're just smart in different ways. And so the word is corrupted, intelligence and smart, that it is very narrow in the way that we use it consistently, of what it's become to mean is academically capable. And that is one of, Howard Gardner's, eight intelligences, that, that there's a lot of different ways to be smart in it. So our education system, the mom of my kids, she is a beautiful educator, and she used a technique called Reggio Emilia. And what that was they would have multiple teachers in the classroom when they had the funding to have multiple teachers in the classroom. But theoretically, they would have multiple teachers, one of whom would be guiding the class, the other of whom would be watching the kids really closely and seeing who was paying attention and how, seeing what were the connections that were being made inside of the classroom. So they weren't the curriculum was structured around what is emergent and coming out of the kids. And they were listening, 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 listening. And one year they created this beautiful thing called the neighborhood, where the kids were able to go, they create, like each person had a house, had a structure, had something in this imaginal place that they created. And they would actually go there together. And in the neighborhood, the interactions that they had with one another was different than the interactions they had in the regular classroom. The kids who were made fun of and teased in the regular classroom, in the neighborhood, they were treated differently by the cool kids. It was this incredible offering, imaginal place of going into that place, that God place. Of when we're outside of the structure of needing to be smart, when we're outside the structure of needing to perform and know math and do all those crazy things, our humanity comes forth. To me, that's the God you're talking about. Our humanity comes forth. And then and what we want is, we all want that. We want to live from that place. But we've all gotten lost and betrayed ourselves and started to live a life that's based on like whatever success is: money, wealth, resume building things, all the externalities that the culture says, hey, if you have this car, if you have these clothes, if you have this resume, if you have this success, you're going to be happy, you're going to be well. And we gave up that sense of humanity
Can,
to
can
try
I?
to live a different life.
Yeah, I would like to know how would you connect this that we completely lost as a society sense of
Yeah.
humanity, and as we can see with the latest development, in what is coming out, um,
Yeah.
we see that a lot of people that were portrayed to us as successful are a complete failure in
They're really,
really,
yeah,
if humanity would be KPI, they would be zeros. And
yeah, right.
yeah,
It's to me, it's an indication of so here, so we're talking about the Epstein files, which have just been released again, and there's all, all these stories around it. Deepak Chopra, Bill Gates, Donald Trump, so many others. This is not a political thing at all. This is here are some of the people who are the billionaires, the wealthy, the gurus of our time who have wealth. They have done, they have power, they have success in the way that we think success is, and they are hurting and lost enough that they are so far from humanity that they are exploiting and just it's horrific the kinds of ways that they're treating other humans. I mean, it's astounding. I've sat in meditation all week just thinking about like what, how do you, how does that happen? That we're that far astray and that these are the people that we've looked up to. So we're all culpable of this. This isn't one of those like, it's those bad actors over there. I have betrayed myself. We have betrayed ourselves. And that to me is, and so this is like a light shining and screaming to say, we know better. We know that if we go down that road of pretending that all those externalities are more important than our humanity, than how we treat one another, than loving each other, then we have lost something really significant about who we are and how we want to be, which of course to me is the essence of the midlife crisis, right? I mean, that's it. It's like cut, like we're like, uh-oh, oh,
would you agree with the saying that all it takes evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing?
sure, yeah, and to me, I mean, yeah, right, because it's the betrayal of self, like, and it's, you know, sometimes people ask me a lot of why is it so hard? Why is this so hard? We all know better. We all know that that how we want to be and how we want to treat people. At least that's what I believe. So why aren't we doing it? Like why are good people being quiet? What's going on? And I was watching the Super Bowl ads. The Super Bowl just happened, and so here come the Super Bowl ads, and an ad, the Budweiser ad, which just won some award. I don't pay attention to that kind of thing, but it's a portrayal of here's America presenting itself to the world. Here's our way of being presenting itself to the world. And there's this beautiful, it's a touching ad. The ad is with a horse and an eagle, and it has this. It's an emotionally touching ad. And at the last moment, there's a dad and a son, and the dad is standing there watching this beautiful relationship between the horse and the eagle and the natural world. And he starts to cry. And the son says, "Those tears?" And he says, "No, the sun's in my eyes." Right? So there we have right there. It's not okay to cry. It's not okay to be touched by an ad that is intentionally trying to touch us. Like it's designed to create emotion and to have us feel this like heart place. And then we cry, and then it makes fun of crying. So why is it so hard to come back to ourselves, to be connected to our emotions, to the humanity that we care so much about? Because when we do, we get made fun of. Because when we do, we get teased. Because when we do, it's not acceptable. It's not something that we're like, wow, thank you for feeling so deeply. Thank you for being touched. And as men in the world, again, I work with men, I run men's groups, which are just these beautiful places where we do the opposite. We do that opening. How do we open? How do we bring ourselves forward? That's what we're doing. We're creating emotional resilience and emotional availability in men, which I think is what the world wants, and of course our partners and women and men want, right? They want our hearts. They want our emotions. And yet when we bring it in the ad, it's not accepted.
Mhm.
It's made fun of.
Can I ask you another thing about the Super Bowl? What do you
Yeah.
think about Spanish program and only 40 million people speaking Spanish and everyone forced to watch a Spanish program in the uh, let's say as a top and just someone forgot about 310 million people speaking English. How
Yeah.
do you see that?
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting question. And I would say again, like what the thing that's fascinating to me about the Super Bowl is we have a global audience. We have millions of people watching the same content at the same time. It is an incredibly powerful messaging. It is a showcase of America, the American way, the Western way.
Mhm.
And so it's important. These messages are important. It matters. So, so to me, America is this incredible melting pot of a lot of different cultures coming together in an experiment that is something that is really, really unique, right? And so to one way to answer your question is to say, wow, amazing that we have a really large population of Spanish speakers who are always subjected to English, right? Because we just default that like English is the right way to do it. Well, maybe English isn't the right way to do it. Maybe Spanish is the right way to do it. Maybe we could, maybe other languages are ways to do it as well. And so to me, it's an opportunity to say, to push and to say we are a diverse country.
Mhm.
There are many different people. We are celebrating a lot of different heritages, a lot of different ways of being. And so this is our effort to acknowledge and to say, hey, let's try this out. It hasn't been done before. And it's an interesting time to do it, to celebrate all the different cultures that we are here theoretically, I think, as a country to honor and to bring forth. So, and it's okay that we get to be uncomfortable and to check our biases and to wonder about this and to really feel like, oh, interesting, interesting. And to me, so there's lots of different messaging that's going on, and we got to be paying attention to the conscious and unconscious of it, and it's really easy to get outraged also. And I think we got to check that also, let's bring curiosity instead of the, judgment and rage.
Okay, so how should we wrap this up? So let's call it. Um, I believe you have really put it the best in preparation for for this podcast. You said our society is going through midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah.
How can we see our society going through midlife crisis?
Yeah. Well, when I look out at the world right now, and what's happening, it sure seems to me like a lot of things are really shaking. I talk about the wicked problems of the world, that there's a lot of people really, really suffering right now. There are a lot of people really hurting right now. And to me, it sure looks like we are facing, from AI to climate change to all the political wackiness to just people losing their jobs to economic challenges. Like there's a lot of hunger. There's a lot of really big challenges that we're facing. And to me, it's pretty evident that we are off track
Mhm.
and that we're headed down some roads that can be really um, devastating and painful. And that we've lost touch with humanity. We've lost touch with what really matters.
Mhm.
We're astray from love and connection. That there's again all these global millionaires and billionaires looking for love, looking for connection, looking for belonging in this really distorted, really, really warped way. is an indication that we are off track. And so to me, it's individually because there to me there's also like a thing of we can think about out there. Oh, the problems are out there.
Mhm.
That's easy. Really, what we've got to pay attention to is right here. And the change that I want to create in the world, the cultural change that wants to happen, also has to happen inside of myself. And so that's where I focus my work is let's be healthy here. Yeah. Let's do this. Because I don't know how to solve that other than doing this, because I know how to do this right here. And I can be that. And so and I enjoy the place of the crisis of the cultural collapse, let's call it, which is going to be painful, is painful already. And we got to be able to hang in that and allow transition, allow the alchemy of change, allow the alchemy of discomfort, allow the alchemy of things burning down like a forest fire. When a forest fire happens, then it brings alive new birth. And I
Mhm.
think we're right in that need for we got to come back home. Like we got to figure out how to really take care of each other and remember that we know how to be connected to our hearts and bring forth the love and the care that like we got to come back home.
Thank you for all these amazing insights. Before we conclude, please tell our listeners where they can reach you, where they can check your books,
Yeah.
and
Thank
what's the best place to get in contact.
Yeah, thanks for that, Peter. So, I hope it's evident that like I live this stuff, and we talked about a lot of big things, but really the work is about the work in here, is about the work between men. So, morganrich.com is my website. I have a resource for listeners who want to take steps into their life, which is morganrich.com/courage, and there's a resource there for anyone who wants to grab that. You can also schedule a time to talk with me. I have this beautiful coaching program called Inhabiting Purpose, which is about doing that work of when you're in that place of who am I? How do I want to be in the world? That we do a month-long program of really shining light on purpose. My book, The Invitation Beyond, I'll just say the invitation beyond the surface level, the invitation beyond the nonsense, the invitation beyond the trance. Right? We are caught in a game that we don't want to be playing. And so the book is about how do we take steps back into our hearts, exactly as we've been talking about. So that also is available, morganrich.com. You'll find links on there to my men's groups, to the book, and then, I have YouTube's channel, Morgan Rich Beyonder. A lot of content is there. Substack, which is morganrich.substack.com, where you'll find articles, videos, and things like that. So those are the places. And yeah, and thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for amazing insights, and let's see if we're good enough to change ourselves so the society can change with us.
Yeah, we either will be or we won't be, and it'll be interesting either way.
Yeah. Thank you.